Hello, everybody. I hope that you're doing well as we get set to get into another video here. This is the video for Module 38 for Business Math and Calculators. And in this video, we are going to be talking about various problems involving credit cards. Credit cards are definitely a very common thing that you'll see outside of the classroom. And so hopefully in this video, the problems that we go through will give you some idea about how things are calculated when it comes to figuring out interest, when it comes to figuring out how they figure out your balance and different things like that. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the first couple of problems and we'll go from there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump into our first problem involving credit cards. So in this first problem, we've got a fairly complicated situation, I guess. John has a credit card that charges 18% annual interest. What that means is that breaks down to about 1.5% interest per month. And his initial balance on his credit card is $0. Okay. Now, John makes a purchase of $524. At the end of the billing cycle, he makes a $150 payment. What is the outstanding balance on the card after the payment? All right, so let's go ahead and figure out what is going on in this situation. So the first thing we want to do is we need to calculate the interest. Okay, we got to figure out how much interest is calculated during this period. And we're going to use the simple interest formula because we're basically looking at one period in which things are being calculated for this 1 month period. Remember that the simple interest formula is based on, when we think about time, is based on years. So if you notice, our number for the time portion is 1/12. The 18% interest, remember, is an annual thing. So since we're using that value in the formula for the interest rate, we want to make sure we account for the fact that this is just 1/12 of a year that this interest is being calculated for. Once we get everything put into the formula, it's just a matter of multiplying. So we come up with a total amount of interest of $7.86. All right, now to figure out the outstanding balance, what we basically need to do is look at how much the purchase was for. So that's $524. We add in the interest that has accrued over the course of that month, so $7.86. And then we subtract off the payment of $150, leaving us with a outstanding balance of $381.86. So there you go. So remember to account for the interest and make sure that that's been calculated and added in before you subtract off anything. All right, we want to make sure that we don't want to subtract, for example, the 150 from the 524 and then calculate interest based on that lower amount. That'll give us a different value. So again, make sure you calculate the interest first and then add that in before you subtract off the payment that is made. All right, now let's look at a slightly different situation involving credit cards. In this problem, what we've got is a situation where, again, we got a credit card. Fritz, in this case, has a card that has 15% interest. The previous balance on the card was $845.12, and then he made several purchases over the course of the billing cycle. Okay. At the end of the 30-day billing cycle, the average daily balance was $1,293.81. And the balance before any finance charges were added in was $1,398.45. What is the finance charge for the billing cycle and what is the outstanding balance? All right, now the first thing we want to keep in mind is, again, to calculate our finance charge, it's a 15% annual interest, so it's 1.25% per month. So you got that by taking 15% divided by 12. So we're going to use the 1.25%. Then what we're going to do is, rather than looking at what the final balance is, what credit cards do is they use the average daily balance, which we'll actually talk about in the next example how that's determined. All right. So the average daily balance is going to be the number that we are going to use to base our calculation for the finance charge. But basically, we just take the interest rate for the month times the average daily balance. And when we do that, we get a finance charge of $16.17. Then to calculate the outstanding balance, keep in mind that the balance right now is currently at $1,398.45. So that's how much has been charged to the account. So what we do to find that outstanding balance is we take that ending balance, add the interest that has accrued onto that balance, and that'll give us the outstanding amount that needs to be paid. So in this case, we end up with a outstanding balance of $1,414.62. All right, for our final problem, we're going to talk about how to calculate the average daily balance. All right, so here we go. In this problem, we are going to be given a table. And what it is we have a 30-day billing cycle. And what's going to happen is we're going to see a series of charges. All right, so what we have to do is figure out, all right, what is the average daily balance? Now, to do that, what we essentially do is we have to figure out how much was charged or how much was in the account or charged to the account each day of the month. And then we take an average of that in order to figure out what that average daily balance is. Now, when we look at this, what we've got going on is starting at the beginning of the month, so on April 1st, the balance was $382.08. Now notice nothing happened until the 5th of the month when a payment was made. So for those first 4 days, April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, the balance each day was $382.08. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and since we're going to try to find the average amount, we got to basically come up with what the sum is going to be. So we take and multiply $382.08 times 4, and we get this value that you see on the screen. All right, now on the 5th, a $90 payment, so a credit goes in, and a credit means we're going to decrease the amount of the balance because we're paying some money off. So if we take $382.08 and subtract off the $90, what happens is we get a new balance of $292.08. And that balance then is what is in the account or charged to the card for the next 3 days. Okay, April's 5th, 6th, and 7th, so that's why we multiply it by 3. Okay, then we have another charge. So we're going to take the $292.08, add in that charge of $129.45. There's also a second charge of 75 cents, so we're going to add that in as well. All right, so the new balance is $496.63. And if you notice that those charges occurred on the 8th, the next adjustment to the balance didn't happen until the 20th. So for 12 days, the balance was $496.63. So that's why we take that number times 12, gets us the 59.56 that we see there on the screen. On the 20th, another payment was made. So again, we're going to subtract 110 off of the balance. So we have 386.63. And that balance then is present for the next 8 days from the 20th up through the 27th. Okay, so again, we multiply. And then we have another charge on the 28th. So we're going to add in that $201.50. And that happens to be the balance then for the last 3 days up until the 1st. And that's our ending balance when all said and done. Okay, so the calculations that we now see on the screen represent the sum of the balance each day of the billing cycle. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add those together. So we're going to find the sum, and we're going to now divide by 30. And we divide by 30 because it's a 30-day billing cycle. So we end up with a value of $440.72. And that number is our average daily balance. So as we saw in the previous problem, that's what they then use to calculate what the overall interest rate or what the overall interest finance charge is going to be for that particular billing cycle. So it's important to know how to get that average daily balance, and it's important to know how we use it when we are calculating interest when it comes to a credit card. All right, so there you go. Those are a few examples of different problems that involve credit cards. So again, we talked about how to calculate basically what the finance charge is for a billing cycle. It basically uses the simple interest formula. So that's kind of the key thing that we had talked about in previous videos coming back in this situation. We talked about how the average daily balance is used to calculate the finance charge for a billing cycle. And then we also talked about how to actually determine what that average daily balance is when there is a series of payments or charges to the card. Hopefully these examples were helpful. If you're still stuck or have any questions though, like always, please remember that you are welcome to reach out to me at any point with any questions, comments, or concerns about these problems. I'm always happy to help. You can email me, you can text me, you can stop by during office hours, whatever works easiest for you. Just make sure that if you do need help, that you ask for that help. I'm always happy to assist you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next video.